Do you need to get 80, 90 or over 100 on your TOEFL score? Today I'm gonna give you 6 tips that helped me to increase my TOEFL score starting from 0 to 79 and from 79 to 105. My first tip is to identify your English level. It will help you to develop a study plan for yourself according to your needs to get the TOEFL score you want. Be honest with yourself. If your English level is B1 or lower, the probability of getting a good TOEFL score is low. I watch a YouTube channel that will tell me that I just need 2 months to prepare for the TOEFL, and I waste those 2 months because when I started my English level was not enough. So please don't make the same mistake. Make sure that your English level is intermediate B2 or higher. My second tip is to study the right TOEFL material. When I took the first TOEFL, I regret I didn't study from the official TOEFL book. There are a lot of material out there, and most of them are not accurate. So I strongly recommend you to study from the original TOEFL book and from sources that you can trust. My third tip is to learn the strategies. This is the most important tip, and this will save your life. My friend has been speaking English her whole life, but she didn't get 100 on her TOEFL score because she didn't know the strategies. You can find the strategies on the official TOEFL book. It will teach you how to identify every single question. It will teach you to answer the questions right. It will give you tips and examples about how to answer the speaking and the writing part. If you want additional help, the YouTube channel TOEFL is very helpful, especially with the speaking part and the reading part. What do I mean with the strategies? Well, for example, for the reading, you have to identify what questions you are getting wrong. In my case, it was the rhetorical questions. I learned later that there are 2 kinds of rhetorical questions. The first one asks you for the general passage of the reading part. The second kind asks you for a specific paragraph in the reading passage. I didn't know that, and I will think that they always ask you for the general meaning. Later I learned that I have to read, I have to predict the answer and predict what the author is thinking. I have to hide the answers, and when I have my prediction, I can check the answers that they are giving me. I have to choose the one that matches my prediction. And that is one strategy. My fourth tip is to identify your mistakes and make sure you never ever make those mistakes again. For example, I did that and I increased my reading score 11 points. What I did was, I had a notebook. I will write down every single mistake I had in the reading passage. I will also write down the strategy to answer that question, and I will make sure that every time I see that kind of question again, I have the idea how to answer the question right, and that worked. I got 29 out of 30. In addition to that, identify what section is more difficult for you. In my case, I had problems with the speaking part, and I think this is the worst part because you don't know how it is gonna be. When I took my first TOEFL, I just started to learn English 6 months before, and I got 22 out of 30 during my first TOEFL. That was great because I didn't have too much experience learning English, but I learned the strategies, I learned the templates, and I practice a lot. For these kind of questions, you also have to make sure, or for the speaking in general, that you know how to improvise. Speaking is hard, and the TOEFL speaking is even harder. Not even native speakers can answer those questions. Please make sure you practice, and you practice improvisation. In my case, I remember that during my second TOEFL, they asked me why I found up a specific kind of painting memorable, and I was shocked. I'm not a painting person. I like arts, but I have never look at a specific painting that I like, I remember, and that was memorable for me, so I had to make it up. My sixth tip is to practice a lot. Practice makes perfect. Here, there are two kinds of people. Let's say Group A and Group B. Group A are the people that have been speaking English their whole life. Their English is great and they don't even need a month to prepare for the TOEFL. They can get a good TOEFL score in a few weeks. It's amazing. The second group are the people that have a hard time improving their TOEFL score. There are people that don't have a lot of experience with English. I was inside of Group B and I have tips for every section. For the reading, make sure you answer questions, but TOEFL questions every day, especially the questions you have more trouble with. In addition to that, you can start to read books. After you read a book or a specific thing, you have to try to write what you learn, and because that's how you are gonna really practice your reading and your understanding of the reading passages you just read. For the speaking, I strongly advise you to find a native speaker. You can find it like an online professor, or you can find just a friend, and you will teach that person the guidelines. You will show that person the guideline, and that person will understand how it works and will help you to correct your accent, to correct your or to make your English more understandable. For the listening, I strongly advise you to listen every single thing about biology, about caves, about ancient times, about astronomy. For the writing, I will advise you to practice and practice every day. I got 26 out of 30, and that was great for me because somebody taught me to write, and I even wrote a scientific article about my research. And I started by writing every day. I wrote a single sentence about what I did in a day. Later, I started to write more about what I did during the day, but I wrote a paragraph. Later, I started to write about what I read during the day, and like that, I practice every day, and I use a software from Cambridge. My final bonus is to never ever tear the piece of paper. I know it sounds crazy. Who will do that? I didn't know the rules, and I thought that if I have a small piece of paper, it will be more comfortable. I tear the piece of paper and I missed my listening part. The supervisor came and he asked me for my paper. I missed the listening and I waste time just talking to the supervisor, asking why he did that. After that, I was very anxious because I knew I really missed the listening part, and I was anxious to answer the speaking and the writing. Finally, please focus on the score you want and make it happen. Thank you for watching my video. I really hope you find it helpful. Don't give up. When I started to learn English, I didn't give up. I was A1 and I just focused on the score I wanted to get. I eventually got my score, and time later I got into top world universities. So please don't give up and trust yourself. Bye.